We're going to build an Instagram Reels sort of simulation. A clone. Yes, a clone. That's the word I was looking for. But before we get started, I want to set expectations, which is that I am not planning to build out the full front end and back end of Instagram Reels. I have no interest in doing that. I'm not planning to do that. That's not what we're doing today. This is a simple clone to simulate functionality and to practice and have a little bit of fun. So I at least want to show you the sandbox so you can get an idea of what we are going to work on for today. The GitHub repository and the demo site for the official GitHub repo, those things are all linked down in the description if you want to take a look at that. And then of course, everything is open source. So you are free to fork this, use this for anything that you want. My goal for today is to get some basic functionality in. So we have the ability to sort of scroll and snap, and I have 5 videos prepared. We're going to go step by step here and I'll show you how I did this. I'll show you. Hang on, I can't talk and work at the same time. Style.css and script.js. And then I also have, I'll show you all of the media. So here is all of the media. So we've got poster images, which are just the first frame of the video. And then I also have VTT files, which are like closed captions. I also have a data.json file. So we are pulling everything in from this data.json. And this is actually not the current. Let me grab the current one here. So we've got 5 reels, 5 objects. So we've got the author information, an avatar. I have the music, the artist, the license. We're starting out, I just put in some dummy data for a like and a comment count. We've got caption, hashtags, the video duration. So maybe we could do like the animated, you know what I'm talking about, like the little animated like border down at the bottom. Yeah, so here's all of our data. Here's all of our media. I have tons of SVGs. We'll get to the SVG and the more building the UI part tomorrow. So today I'm mostly thinking about the functionality, the JavaScript functionality. So, okay, let's get started. So here's our data, here's our script, here's our style. Let's just get started with some basic stuff. So video, and so we're just going to put in one static video to start, and I'm using, so we've got the source, the poster, and then I'm using plays inline, autoplay, muted, loop, and I do want to show the controls just to get started. I'll do some root styles. So I'm setting a color scheme of dark. I'm also going to do black. Whoops. And white. Super simple. And then my usual HTML, box sizing border box. And then on the body, margin 0, I'm going to set a background color of black. We're going to say display flex, justify content center, align items center, and we're going to set a height of 100 VH, vertical viewport height, VH, 100 VH. I'm also going to put in, since our video, we have an inline video style, I'm just going to add video. And then let's make sure this is linked. right. And so here's our inline video. It autoplays muted and it should loop. We'll see it loop here in a second. Yep, and it does loop. So this is just step number 1. Make sure that we can get this working inline. Beautiful. Exactly what we wanted. Next, I'm going to put in 3 videos inline and we'll add some more styles. So now I have 3. So now we have main with a class of reels and an ID of reels, and we have section with a class of reel. So for the container, I'm going to do position fixed. Inset 0, so that's top, bottom, left, right, 0. And then we're going to do overflow Y auto. And then we're going to use scroll snap type. Y mandatory. I've never even heard of scroll snap type until today. So, and then we have over scroll behavior. Over scroll behavior. Touch. So that's for our parent container. And then for each individual reel, position relative, which this is kind of backwards to me, but I do understand why. The height is going to be 100 dvh. 100 dvh in CSS refers to 100% of the dynamic viewport height. This is a relatively new CSS unit designed to address issues with 100 VH on mobile devices, specifically concerning the browser's address bar and toolbars. Historically, 100 viewport height VH was used to make an element take up the full height of the viewport. However, on mobile browsers, the address bar and other UI elements can dynamically appear or disappear as the user scrolls, causing 100 VH to sometimes be larger than the actual visible content area. I love that because I do find that I run into that a lot because I use 100 VH a lot and I run into that a lot on mobile. So I'm glad I'm learning about this. DVH provides a solution by dynamically adjusting its value based on the browser's dynamic toolbars, like the address bar, are visible or hidden. When the dynamic toolbars are visible, 100 DVH represents the smaller active viewport area. When the dynamic toolbars are hidden, 100 DVH represents the larger full viewport area. In essence, 100 DVH offers a more reliable way to ensure an element consistently fills the available screen space on mobile devices, adapting to the presence or absence of browser UI elements. I love that. I love that. I'm so glad that I know about that. So we're going to be using 100 DVH more often. But for now, let's finish this. Okay, so we learned something new today. Scroll, snap, align, start. And then this is going to be display grid, place items, center, and then background color is going to be black. And then I'm also going to do a media query for desktop. So this is kind of a mobile first media query. So we'll say min width 768 pixels. And I'm going to say for the reel, I'm going to set an aspect ratio of 9:16, a height of auto, a max height of 100 DVH, and a margin of 0 auto to center. And then the reel video, yes, I am setting a border radius. The thing that I hate, I'm doing, because it actually does look nice, of 1 rem, and then we'll set the overflow to hidden. There we go. We have some styles in here for the mute button. Gosh darn it, why do you keep doing this? Okay. And then I also have some styles here for the mute button, which are kind of temporary because I think we're going to address that mute button tomorrow. But this is just to position that mute button. There we go. So now, but I don't have the JavaScript in here yet, so nothing is playing. These are just the poster images. But you can see the snap is working really well. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we need to implement some JavaScript now. Okay, so I'm going to show you what this morphed a little bit. So I'm going to show you, because there were lots of ways to approach doing an Instagram Reels clone. There was more than one way to approach this, and I kind of had to make a decision about what I wanted to do. There we go. And you can see here the entire container is getting focus. That's so I can use my keyboard. There we go. And so it was at this stage where I was like, hey, actually, I think in actual Instagram Reels, if you unmute, then every reel is unmuted. But if you mute, then every reel is muted until you decide to unmute. So I had to ask ChatGPT to make the mute a global, something that is remembered globally. So you can see here that only the individual videos that I unmuted play. So that was the next thing. That I had to get wired up here with the global state. And then we'll go through all the JavaScript also. Here we go. So let's actually turn on GitHub Copilot and put in some comments. Please help me write comments that describe the JavaScript. Let's go ahead. We can keep this. And let's just look at some of the comments that this is giving us. So initializes the Reels video player functionality. Make this a little bigger for you. Helper functions for selecting the elements. This is for a single element, and this is for multiple elements. Get the main Reels container and all Reels sections. This is a global mute state. The default is muted, and it's persisted in local storage. Apply a mute state to all videos and persist. Update the mute button icons and accessibility labels in each section. Ensure all videos loop. Track the currently active reel index. Pause all videos except the one at the accept IDX index. Preload the next video for smoother playback. Use intersection observer to play the active reel when it's greater than or equal to 75% visible. Pause others, applies mute, and preloads the next video. So intersection observer. And we've used that here before for CSS animations and scrolling animations. Observe each reel section for visibility changes. Add click event to mute button in each section to toggle the global mute. User gesture primes the audio, ensures the current video plays with the new mute state. And then we have keyboard controls for navigation and playback. So we have arrow up and down to navigate the reels, space or K to play and pause, M to toggle the global mute. So that's what all of this is. This is for accessibility, the keyboard actions. Then we have pause the active video when the tab is hidden, resume when focused. So this is something that we should actually check in actual Instagram Reels, because what I've noticed is that it'll pause the video if I scroll to the next video, and then if I scroll back up, it will resume playing. But why do I think that in actual Instagram Reels, it will start playing the video from the beginning? I can't remember, so we're going to check that. But this is doing exactly what I asked it to do. Then we are initializing the mute state, buttons, and focus on page load. And then we are initializing on DOM content loaded. So we are going to actually pull in that JSON file. Oh, data.json. There we go. So now we're actually pulling in our data. Here we go. Nice. So now we can and I can mute, and it remembers. Two, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we have all of our data. I don't know, this, to me, it like the snapping and scrolling feels like Instagram Reels to me. I love it.
Saturday by the sea, got somewhere we need to be, we just stay here.
So here's what we're going to do today. I have a screenshot of one of my Instagram Reels. This is exactly what we are going to build today. I feel like when I scroll Instagram, I feel like the UI changes constantly. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's white. I assume some of that has to do with my own system settings, but I also feel like the UI is different if it's your reel versus if it's somebody else's reel. I don't know. I took a screenshot. This is what we're going to go with. So this is what we're going to use as our mock-up. The good news is that all of the actual JavaScript and scrolling and playing functionality, that's all in place. So there's really no additional JavaScript that we have to work on today. So I was thinking about like, how do I really want to approach this? Because we are going to have to put our markup in the list for each right here. Let's get over here. So our markup is going to go here. But I don't really want to I don't want to mess with markup in the JavaScript just for the sake of styling. So what I decided to do is I'm going to take one of these sections, I'm going to copy it, and just so I can get my markup for this overlay figured out, I'm just going to put a static section in for now. We'll put our overlay in here. So now we have a duplicate. That's perfectly fine. We're going to get an overlay in here. I'm just going to do div with a class of overlay. And this is how we're going to style today and get our elements in here. I have a ton of SVGs ready to go. And we're just going to have fun. We're just going to have some fun. And then when we have everything styled and looking the way we want to, we'll go ahead and pop it into our JavaScript. So if we start from here, we've got a caret or an arrow pointing to the left and reels. So I guess that would be a button. Type button. Did I not save? I did not save an arrow. Okay. Oh, chevron. Chevron, I guess I did. Okay. And I'm going to make this aria hidden true. And I guess this is just, what, a title? And then I guess this would be like a sidebar. I think these are definitely separate. Let's give this a class of top. Top of the reel. And I'm just going to say meta container. So we have an avatar, the name, and the artist. I'm just going to say author. I guess I don't have a picture of myself. Hang on. Other headshot. Well, Reels author profile image. Boy, there's going to be a lot of divs here, isn't there? this needs to be in a container, this needs to be in a container, this needs to be in a container. So it's going to be a lot of containers. So we've got the author. Well, the figure is a container, but that all needs to be inside of a container. And then this is going to have to be in another container. It's going to be a lot of divs. It's going to be a lot of divs. So, and then this would be, we'll say author, artist. Well, we better call it a container because that's what it is. And then div, author. We'll say IG author. Author. And then div IG artist. You know, I probably shouldn't be using IG. Yeah. And then we've got our SVG, which I don't think that I need a container. I feel like the SVG can be the container. We'll go ahead and put it here. You know what though? It's really, but you can add your own class. I'm going to give it a class of, I'll just call it what it is. It's a musical note. Hopefully that's enough. And then we are going to need another, we could probably do a span. We'll see. And then we'll just say real song. And I'm going to grab one from the data. Title artist, just like you, the wildcards. Okay, so that was the author artist container. Now we'll do the caption. Well, I'll grab it from the data. And then we'll say, do another div, likes, comments. So I do have data for the like count and the comment count. Liked by, we can just add this. And then we'll grab a picture of Heidi. She can be liked by. She can be the liked by. Like count, comment count. Liked by and 23 others. Okay. Liked by Heidi, Shelty, and 23 others. So let's get another profile picture. As if I didn't have 5,000 pictures of my dog. I do. I don't have a picture. How is that possible? I mean, I have pictures. I have 5 million pictures of my dog, but none that are optimized. So we are going to do that right now. Let's do it. Because that is a tiny picture and we need it to be. So let's crop and optimize a photo. Heidi is going to be our, gotta get the ears in there. Oops, there we go. Let's see how big this is. All right, let's see how we can, at 500 is pretty big. 500 by 500 is pretty big, but let's see what we can get this. Yeah, 200, that's, maybe doesn't need to be that big. So if we save it at 50% quality, the size is 26 kilobytes. So I think that's just fine for such a tiny little photo. And we'll say Heidi Shelty. So I don't have data for a few things here in the screenshot, not many, but a few. And those things can just be static. I just don't have a desire to change that right now. I'm more interested in actually building the UI and getting it styled. That's all I care about. So, okay. So we are also going to need just a little profile picture there. So we'll do another figure with the class of figure and an image. And what did I do here? Reels author profile image. Let's say Reels commenter, commenter, Reels commenter profile image. And then maybe we should have this in a paragraph tag. Okay, and then I'm going to call this our sidebar. So here's the, oh, I think we have too many things inside this author. Caption, like comments. There we go. Author. Meta container. What? Hang on. Why are we still inside the author? There we go. Caption, like comments. Okay. And this is the top. This is the main container. Okay. This is all coming together now. So, and then let's do I guess a sidebar. And should this be an article? Kind of feel like maybe it should be. Article. And then this can be an aside. That's semantic, right? And then this should be really easy to do with grid, right? Yeah, I think so. We'll find out. Class. And then this is, I'm just going to do meta sidebar. Okay, We have a heart. We have a comment. What is this? Repost? Share? What is this? I don't know what this is. Repost. What is this? Send. I don't, and then this ellipsis. Okay, so I'm going to call this repost because I actually don't know what this is. And I'm going to call this send because I don't know what that is either. That's how much I use social media. Okay, so we'll do class. We're just going to call this hearts. It's remix, maybe. Okay. So, so this little thing you do is remix. And then Go says the airplane is share send. Share send. Okay. I can get on board with that. I mean, it actually doesn't matter what it does because I'm not worried. I'm not going to build that functionality. I literally just don't know what they are. So we'll call this remix, and then we'll call this share. That works, right? Not too serious, just having fun. Just having fun. And then I'm going to put a span in here with the class of access hidden. And we'll say a heart is a like, right? Likes. We'll just say likes. We'll just call it the likes. Number of likes. Number of likes. There we go. And then we can put, and we'll call this like count. What do you think? Should I start applying for a job at Meta? No. No, I should not. Okay, like count, 92. Wouldn't that be nice? The other one is repost. The arrows are repost, but I like remix more. Fair enough. The other one is repost. You know what? We're going to go with the remix. We're going to go with remix just because we roll our own here, don't we? So, okay, so here's our hearts, which is the number of likes. Here's the SVG, and then we have a div with a class of like count. Okay. Comments. The class of access hidden. We'll say number of comments. Chat bubble. See, this is the fun part. This is the part that I love. Wouldn't it be wild if we actually made something that looked like an Instagram reel? I think we can do it. You know, and we should probably give these, we should actually give these all the same classes so we don't have to rewrite all those styles. So we'll do, they are going to need a unique class. So let's do hearts, and then let's do, let's just do count. Comments, count. We'll do meta count because we do need a unique class, but we also need a class that's the same for styling. And then meta count. Meta count. We'll say meta count container. And then this can just be meta count. Yeah. Meta count container. And this can just be meta count 6. All right, and then we've got remix and share. Div remix. And we've got meta count container. Oops. Which one is which? Repeat outline. And if we don't get this all done today, we'll finish working on it next weekend. I'm honestly completely fine. This does not, well, this does need a span with a class of access hidden, and we're going to say Reels remix. Div share this is navigate. I'll say aria hidden true. And I'll say share this reel. And then we've got an ellipsis. Is that how you spell ellipsis? I think so. I'm just going to say more about this reel because I don't know what that does either. And then we've got cover art. I actually have to find some cover art, I guess. I'm going to reuse, I will go and find some cover art. I'm going to reuse this photo from Heidi because I just can't be bothered to go do that right now. Artist album cover art. That could definitely be better. Yeah, I think that's it. There isn't anything else there, right? Wow. Okay. Let's start styling. So I'm going to take out, well, I guess it doesn't matter. That can be up there. Okay, so we definitely need this overlay to be so the realist position relative. the video is so the video, the only thing that's position absolute is this mute button. Okay, so that helps. So the overlay can be position absolute also. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about this button for now. Overlay. So we'll say position absolute. We'll do inset 0. I guess width 100%, height 100%. I probably don't need those if you're inset 0. And then let's do some base styles. So let's make sure that our images are display block, max width 100%, height auto. Same with our SVGs. Even though I'm thinking of one already that I know needs to be display inline, maybe we could just do display inline block instead of display block. And we'll see how that goes. And then just temporarily, let's give our SVGs a width and a height of 2 rems, just to sort of contain things. And then we didn't really check to see, that helps. We didn't really check to see if there were any, yeah, we need to take out anything that's got like an inline current color and leave all of these stroke attributes blank. That is for styling. And pretty much all of these are going to have a stroke, not a fill. Because that's just how the Ionicons seem to work. So let's just give everything a fill of white. There we go. And then let's just control these images just temporarily. I'm going to give everything a width of, well, 3, we'll say 3 rems. We'll just do a width of 3 rems just to get them under control. Perfect. Perfect. This helps. This helps. And then I think we're going to need a font. Let's just use a system font. Let's just use I don't know, does Instagram have an official font? Instagram font family. Instagram sans typeface. Oh, so they have their own DM sans. So this came up. Let's use it. Why not? Why not? Why not? All right, and then we'll say font size. I mean, I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just doing everything just like it's a normal web page. I mean, it all still runs on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? There we go. Look at that. I do not see. All right, hang on here. I do not see some of my SVGs. Oh, did I, hang on. I did fill, not stroke, so we'll do both. There we go. So some have fill, some have stroke. Fair enough. Okay, so for this overlay, I feel like we've got a top, a left, and a right. And I feel like the left, if we kind of broke it up, I feel like it would be 3/4 and 1/4, and then the top would be the full. So I'm thinking that I'll do display grid template rows, or grid template columns. I'm gonna say 3 FR, 1 FR. Here's the top. Grid column. And isn't it 4 span? Am I doing that right? No. There we go. Span 4. There's the top. And then I need these to be like not flex end, but end. But not this. No, yeah, actually I do need them all to be like that. Align items. Yes, thank you. End, but I need the top to be aligned at the top. Okay, let's ask. Let's ask for help. I'm using CSS Grid. I have can I align the child of display grid to the top, but have the other children aligned to the end? Yes, you can control this with per item alignment inside a grid. Okay, so yes, you can control this with per item alignment inside a grid. And I did want to put align items end grid align self start. Got it. So for top, we'll do align self start. What? Look at that. It's coming together. It almost looks like a real Instagram reel, and it's like not even styled yet. This makes me so happy. This is actually going to work. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay. I do think that we should adjust this a little bit. Like this sidebar could be a little more narrow. Oh, this is exciting. So let's make this 4, right? We're not locked into 12 columns anymore. We are not locked into 12 columns anymore. We need to get our access hidden. Oh, this is so exciting. This is so exciting. I'm so glad I decided to do this. I'm so glad. Where is my GitHub? Let's see here. I just need some CS. Just need my access hidden. I never remember. There we go. You guys, it almost looks like the real Instagram. I think I should start applying for jobs at Meta, like tomorrow, right? I'm just kidding, but not really. But I am. But maybe I'm not. I don't know. Okay. Look how well. I mean, this is okay. So this is what is so cool to me about semantic markup, and this is why I will never stop preaching about good semantic markup and understanding template hierarchy and baseline basic CSS. That is all we've done here. And look at how well this has fallen into place. Look at how well this has fallen into place just by using semantic clean HTML and understanding the basics. I mean, if you need a dopamine hit, I'm telling you, start learning front-end development. Okay, Angela, do some actual work now. So let's go back to, let's give our container some padding. So maybe, what is that, like 1.5 rems of padding? Beautiful, beautiful. That was the overlay. Let's see here. Oh, and we are spilling out of our container a little bit here. Oh, I am noticing that I've got an overflow issue. Let's see here. Okay, this works. I mean, we set box sizing border box. Box sizing border box. Oh, but I didn't do it here, did I? Because we are having an it's adding padding like it's content box. Box sizing, border box. Let's see if that works now. There we go. Right here, that's why we put that's why we always change our. See, I had a question once on one of my videos. Why do I do this? Why do I do these wildcards if I'm putting box sizing border box on the HTML element? Was that the question? I can't remember if the person was asking me why I do it in both places when you should only need to do it in one place. I think what we just experienced is the best example of that. I did not have it here. I did not have it on these wildcard selectors, and I was having overflow issues adding padding to my container, and having the wildcard selector fix that. Yeah, so that's a great example of why we do that. Anyways, okay. Now let's make sure that this is also aligned. So I think we want to do, I think that we also want to do some justify. We can also do justify content here, right? Space between. Yep, no, that didn't work. Hang on. We could also just make that narrower. Make this 5. Well, we could maybe just say text align right. I mean, again, basic CSS. I think we need a little more space. I'm going to add a little more padding. I like this column ratio. And then for our aside, meta sidebar, I'm just going to do text align right. What's happening to this image down here in this cover art? Ah, we have some more styles. We'll do this. Our margin off those figures. There we go. Okay, let's figure out what's happening up here at the top. So our button is display inline block. Let's just go ahead and make our title display inline block. Let's oh, we probably need to make these buttons too. The heart, the comment, yeah, those should all be buttons too. Let's also do some just basic button styles then. Button, border, none, background color, transparent. So here's our title. I'm also going to make this display inline block. And those should be lined up now, just like that. And let's see here. We might actually want to, I need this to be centered. Okay, so we have these aligned, but I do need that. We'll just put a width on this. My button is, I'm going to take the padding off my buttons also. And then my buttons should be 2 rems by 2 rems because that's what I set the SVG to. And I'm good with that size. So that makes it 32 pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and give the title a width. So I'm just going to say calc 100% minus 2 rems. And then I should be able to text align center this. Perfect. And then let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh. Why don't you like that? Oh, we could also do there we go. You're still not aligning the way I want you to. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be on the parent. There we go. And then let's make this just a little bit bigger. It's not perfectly centered. I think it's good enough. Let's make this a little bigger. Good enough is done. And then let's give this some text shadow. And I think there are 3 values for text shadow, right? 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, and then RGBA. 0, 0, 0. It's 15%. There we go. Let's give it a little more. Bump this up a little. I'm going to give it text shadow because I think it needs it, but this looks good to me. I'm good with this. Yeah, that is pretty big. There. Okay, we're going to move on. Let's figure out what's happening here. So we've got our author, figure, authorless container. So I'm going to flexbox. Let's see here. Here's our caption. So this needs to be to the left. So many little moving pieces. Oops. There we go. And then I feel like, so that's round. How big do we think this is? Maybe 110 by 110. So we'll say the author figure. I'm going to say a width of 110 pixels. Well, we already have a max width and we already have a height. And it's already a square. And I'm going to say overflow hidden, author, image. I'm confusing my figures and my images. No, I want the figure. Yeah, I want the figure to be the size. So any image size could go in there because I'm not going to resize the image. Width, height, 110 pixels. Overflow hidden. And I'm going to put a border radius of 50%. Width 100%, height 100%, object fit cover. There we go. That's really big though. Yeah, I guess it's that big. I think my text is just really small. We'll keep going. So here's our real author. And then let's increase the font weight. There we go. And then let's put some gap here. So we'll say a gap of 1 rem. There we go. And then here's our artist. And the SVG by default is display inline. I changed it to display inline block. Spans are also by default display inline, so these naturally line up with one another. I think we could also say vertical align middle here, and that automatically aligns those together. So now, and these have a little bit of opacity too. Well, opacity or maybe just a lighter gray. And then also the title scrolls. So I think we can do that with CSS, right? So here's the real artist with the SVG. And the real song. How do you scroll with CSS? I know you can. Pretty sure you can. Can I use CSS to scroll text in a loop? I know I've done this before. It's been years. Yes, you can scroll text infinitely in pure CSS using keyframes. Okay. All right, so we can put that in a paragraph tag. Yep, and it's display inline block. So we'll just put that in a paragraph tag and change the display. The container hides overflow and prevents wrapping. The child text is padded so it starts off screen to the right. The translate X animation moves it left until it fully disappears. Infinite makes it loop forever. Okay, let's so we'll change this to a paragraph. Real artist. So the real artist is the marquee. And then the real song. This is a great example of using ChatGPT or using AI as a tool for these little UI elements. What? Okay, we have a little adjustment to do. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay. Let's see here. Padding left. So I don't want to do 100%. Start from the right edge. We want to adjust this a little bit, like maybe 25%. There we go. I think we can make that a little smoother. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to take a picture of this. Okay. It works. I'm adjusting the padding so it starts sooner. It's also overlapping the SVG musical note. Two clean ways to stop the text from running under the musical note and make it start sooner. Give the icon its own column, no overlap. What's the other? If the icon must overlap, visually mask the left edge, fade in. Actually, the column is starting to seem like a better. And it's saying to repeat the text. Oh, because the marquee is the entire container. So let's just, yeah, so let's just real artist, real song, div, real scroll. Oh, wait a second. This. We can still get these lined up. And I also need this to be display inline block. Okay, we need to change the width of this. So my SVG is 32 by 32. Oh yeah, display inline block accounts for the natural spacing. Okay, so that's fine. We'll do calc 100% minus 2.5 rems. There, perfect. Perfect. And I don't think that we need any padding. Why do we need any padding? I'm fine with it. Yeah, we do need to sort of transition that though, don't we? Um, or I guess we could just do, I guess we could just do that. That's not the right song though. Just like you. I love it. I love it. Okay. So simple. So, so simple. So we need to tighten this up a little bit and we need to change this. I feel like this has opacity. That's kind of, and I feel like this image is also way too big. Let's change the image to like 75. I think our SVG could be a little smaller as well. I mean, I kind of just want to put a little bit of opacity here, like maybe 90%. There we go. And really, we should put that on the parent container or on Real Artist. There. Oh, that's a little, maybe 70%. There we go. That looks, I think that looks nice. And then we need to get, I feel like this just all has too much line height. So let's just change the line height of the author artist container. Comes after. There we go. See, changing the line height made all the difference. I still feel like something just has this has like a little too much space. Oh yeah, the margin on the pad on the paragraph tag. Got it. I knew something was off. So the real song, we're going to take out the margin. Paragraph tags by default. There we go. Okay, so we need to adjust it a little bit. We could probably just add back in a little bit of line height. Or we could just go back to the original, just like that. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much matches. I think our SVG maybe is just a little too big also. See, getting rid of that margin, our line height is okay. Let's just adjust the size of our SVG, which we gave its own class, musical note. So right now it's 2 rems by 2 rems. let's see what 1.25 rems width. I mean, I'm going to call it good here. I think this looks pretty darn good. I like it. I love it. Okay. And then let's see, that has an ellipsis. Let's adjust the text size of our description, our caption here. So we're done with that. Now this is our caption, which also has paragraph tag. And I don't think we need to adjust this margin at all, but I'm just going to adjust the text size. We'll just bump it up a little bit. There we go. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to do anything else there. Here's our like comments section. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, you can't see. Hang on. There we go. Here is our like comment section. I think I'm just gonna flexbox this as well. I live next to the St. Paul fire station, so yes, lots of fire trucks zooming up and down the road. Sorry about that. I'm kind of immune to it, but I realize when I'm streaming that it's really loud. So, okay. So, like, comments, figure. This is really tiny. So I'm going to make this a width of, I don't know, 50 pixels and a height of 50 pixels. What did I do up here? I didn't use an aspect ratio here, did I? I normally do. I'm not sure it matters. These are so tiny. I don't know if it really matters at all, but I do like to be consistent. I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. Oh. Oops. There's somebody outside yelling. You'll have to let me know if that's too loud because it's a bit vulgar. I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There we go. That's nice and tiny. There we go. We'll give it a little gap. 0.5. Look at that. I think this has a little bit of opacity also. Let's see here. So that's the like comments paragraph. There we go. And I think that this caption does have way too much margin. Maybe just like one rem on the top. There we go. How cool does this look so far? I mean, come on. Wow. We don't have that much more to do here. I'm going to keep going because we don't have that much more to do here. Yeah, this is so cool. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So here's our aside. I actually think we could just probably do text align center. And then maybe we could just make the column a little narrower. I'm always looking for the easiest way to get something done. So what if we make that 8? And then if we say text align center. Yeah, look at that. We could we could even increase that up to 9. And it fits. It all fits. And then let's just make sure that everything has a little bit of space. So in the meta sidebar, meta count container, doesn't need any special positioning, doesn't need grid, doesn't need flexbox. I mean, I suppose if we really wanted to do like display grid just for the sake of giving it a gap, we could. I don't think we need to though. I think we could just say like, just give it some margin on the top and bottom. And that would space it out. Yeah, I could give it a little more. That looks great. I cannot believe that this worked this as well as this did. Oh yeah, it needs a lot more margin. Give it a little more margin. Let's see here. So here is our cover art. We need to make sure cover art. Cover start. I think we can just do margin 1.5 rems, auto. There we go. Does that center it? No. Oh, let's do center the figure. All right, we'll give this, what is that, 68? It's about the right size. So it's like 4.25 rems. Let's say 68 pixels. Height, auto, aspect ratio, 1:1. Overflow will be hidden. Border radius 10 pixels. There we go. We'll make that a little smaller. What do we think? Wow. It's so cool. It's so cool. Oh, and we also have to fix, these need to be buttons. Those need to be buttons. So let's fix that really quick. Yeah, so these need to be buttons with a type equal button and then an ARIA label. ARIA label, number of likes, and then we don't need this span. Type equal button, ARIA label. Number of comments. Okay, but the SVG is the button. Yeah, the SVG is the button. This still needs to be a div. Type equals button. ARIA label. Tap heart to like. There we go. And there's our button. Perfect. Perfect. Button, type equals button, ARIA label, tap to comment. Type equals button, ARIA label, tap to remix. Whoops. Tap to share. type equals button, aria label, tap to learn more about this reel. Okay. Make sure everything looks okay. So here is our overlay. Right here. So we need to get that into our list. Overlay, document, create element, div. Let me see here. Here we go. Don't think we don't need this. There it is. And we need to make sure that we are appending it to our section. Append child. Overlay. Look at that. So let's take this out. We'll take out our static. What? What? We did that. So we definitely need to, so the difference obviously is that we are looking at this in the browser. We are not looking at this in Instagram, right? So not everything is going to be exactly perfect or look exactly the way it does on Instagram. So the first thing I'm thinking is that we have way too much padding around the edge. We don't need that much padding. I'm also thinking that we have a lot of margin between our buttons on the far right-hand side, so we could definitely reduce that margin. I think the profile image could be a lot smaller. I think the text, the liked by Heidi Shelty and 23 others, that could be a lot smaller. But I also think that once we reduce some of our padding around the edges, that'll take care of a lot of that. Yeah. I mean, overall, I think it looks great. I think it looks great. We're just going to tweak some styles next weekend. We're going to get the tap to heart figured out. Maybe if we're feeling ambitious, we could add comments, although I don't really care about that. What I care about is being able to tap that heart. I'm not going to do anything with comments or reposting or sending or anything like that. My sole goal for this project are the final two things that I want to implement are single tap to mute and unmute. And we're going to get rid of this icon in the upper right hand corner and put it in the middle, which is the true Instagram experience. And then we're going to go ahead and implement the double tap to like. And that is the thing I have not started working on yet, although I did Google it here. So first things first, we need to, and I am going to go back to the sandbox. I want to point out what it is that we're creating. So we're creating a div called a class of toast audio, like cheers, toast, with an aria live polite. So this is something that reads out to the screen reader what's happening, but it does it in a polite mode. Basically, we're creating this container first. So that's the first thing that we are going to do. And I'm going to put that. I am going to put that right here. Function flash toast, and it takes in 2 arguments. It's going to take in the section and on, and toast equal section query selector. Oh, and let's get over here. And we'll check it. We'll check for it. Oh, no, we're creating the element. Just going to create a div. And then we're going to give it a class name equal to toast audio. And then we're going to set the attribute toast set attribute aria live polite, and then we're going to append child toast. All right, that's the first thing. And then we need to, here we go. Okay, now we are going to do a function called setup tap to mute. And that goes right here. Uh-oh, did I spell something wrong? Yep, thank you. I would have figured that out eventually. Function setup tap to mute. And you know what? I'm going to attempt to type this out. Double tap milliseconds. So we're getting the milliseconds. We're going to set it to 280. And then we're going to for each through our sections. And we want sections and the index. Let last tap at equal 0. And then we're going to get let the single timer equal null. And we're going to do an event listener. Called pointer up. And then we're going to put this comment in. Ignore taps on explicit controls, so the mute button, the like button, etc. So if the event target closest button, anchor, anything with a role equal to button. Oops. Return. Oops. Yeah, that's right. There's our bracket. So we have a variable for now, which is the event timestamp. And then we have a variable called delta, which is now minus the last tap at. And the last tap at is equal to 0. Whoops. So we're going to say if the delta is less than the double tap milliseconds, then we're going to clear timeout. Whoops. Single timer. And we're going to set last tap at equal to 0. And then we're going to return. So I have some more comments here we can put in. So double tap detected will wire like here next weekend. Oh, that's ChatGPT's little reminder to me of what my plans were. So here's another comment that I'll put in. Single tap, toggle global mute after a short delay to see if a second tap comes. So that's what we're going to do next here. So we're going to clear the timeout. No. Clear timeout. Single timer. And then single timer. Set timeout. No, stop. So we have a global muted is going to be equal to not global muted. Apply the global mute. These are functions we already have. Sync the mute buttons. So we're running these functions. And then we've got videos. Active index. Play. Did I get this right? I think so. Videos, active index, play, no, yep, play, catch, flash toast, global muted, all right, I know I have a syntax issue here. Right here. There we go. All right. There's a lot going on here. I mean, some of these things I definitely understand. Some things I'm like, I'm not quite sure. That's why I'm so grateful that I have AI to help me with some of these things. It would take me a lot longer to write it myself. I do like to be in the habit of not just copying and pasting and actually typing things out. That helps me learn. So do whatever works for you. All right, so the last thing that we need to do then is, well, first of all, we have our flash toast function right here, right? So flash toast is inside setup tap to mute. So now we just need to initialize setup tap to mute right up here. This is, I'm just going to call this single click to mute on UI. All right, so let's see if this works. Whoops. Section is not defined. Let's see here. Did I forget something? It's possible. Oh, do I have this in the wrong? I bet I have this in the wrong order. I need to collapse some of this. So set up mute button, set up tap to mute, that can come after. So this is not getting, oh, I left a huge chunk out here. Whoops. Okay. So toast, text content. If it's on, and we're going to change this. For now, I'm just using emojis. I don't love the emojis, but I just want to get something in here. There we go. And we're going to add the show. So we're adding the actual emoji that's going to show when we single tap to show. So it's that Instagram where it kind of shows and floats in and then fades out. And we've got a little CSS for that too. Clear timeout. Okay, so we are adding this little flash emoji. It's either on or off. We are adding the show class to this div, and then we are clearing the timeout after, I think this is 800 milliseconds. I'm pretty sure it's milliseconds. So, let's see here. What did I miss? Section, query selector, if toast, document create element div, class name, aria live, section, append child to, oh, whoops. Okay, this is, there we go. Class name, toast audio. It's a div. Toast. Look at all of my mistakes. We're just knocking them out one at a time. Toast. Oh, look at how many times am I going to spell class wrong? Toast, class list, remove, show. Setup tap to mute section is not defined. Okay, so I think we've fixed everything here. Section. Oh, no. Oh, sections. It's plural sections. There we go. So yeah, if you're troubleshooting, well, I guess I can only speak for myself. It's almost always because I spelled something wrong, or I got my plural and my singular mixed up. So, okay, so now we're working. Now we should be able to tap once to unmute. Tap to mute. And then that should be remembered. So we're advancing now and it's muted. Tap once to unmute. Oh, we don't have our styles in, so our little icon is down here at the bottom. Okay, so this is working. This is working. So let's just review what we did. Let's review what we did here. So we did this function called flash toast. I'll move this over here a little bit. And this function is creating the container where we're actually, it's creating this container right here, which is the actual mute button that's showing, flashing on the screen. And we don't have our CSS in. We're using a keyframes for the CSS. So that's what this is doing. It has an ARIA live polite attribute. We're defining these emojis, and we're going to change this from text content to inner HTML, and I'm going to swap this out for SVGs. So this is just sort of temporary to get it working. We're adding a class called show, and then we're doing a set timeout of 800 milliseconds to remove show. So that's what that's doing. Then we have the setup tap to mute. So we're defining the double tap in milliseconds as 280 seconds. So it's really counting the milliseconds to see how many times you're tapping. And then we have a pointer up add event listener. It's checking to make sure that we're not clicking on anything else. So ignore taps on explicit controls like the mute button, the like button, etc. So it's looking for button, the anchor element, or anything with the rule of button. And if it's finding those things, it's returning. So it's not going to listen for a tap to mute if I'm specifically tapping on a button like making a comment, liking, an anchor element, if there's a link, anything like that. And then we're kind of doing some math here to do the timing if it's less than 280 milliseconds, and then we're clearing the timeout. So I actually understand what's happening here. It would take me a lot longer though to write this myself. So I'm grateful for AI for help with some of these things. So let's get in some CSS now. So we can actually start to style, and then we're going to go find some SVGs. We're going to go find some SVGs. Okay, where is my CSS? So I have some temporary CSS here. And we're definitely going to modify this a little bit, but I'm just going to put it in just to get us started. So Toast Audio is the div that's being created, and then Toast Audio Show is, where are you here? right here. Toast audio show is what's being added. No, it's not a keyframe, it's a transition. Got it. Okay, so now it should be styled. There it is, up in the other. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now I want to take out the previous mute button. Just this right here under sync mute buttons. I don't want this. I don't think Instagram has a separate mute button other than the single tap once the reel is open. Am I right about that? I think I'm right about that. I want to take out this. Sync mute buttons. Let's just try commenting this out. Initialize audio UI state now that the videos exist. Sync mute buttons. Right here. And right here. And right here. Oh, it's probably in my... No, it wouldn't be in the markup. Oh yeah, it is. Create a mute button for each reel. Can we just comment this out? Button is not defined. The new button we created has an aria polite, so I don't think we need the old button. Oh yeah, I think we could just actually take this out. And I don't think we have to... There we go. That's all we had to do. I'm also wondering if we had to... sync mute buttons. Yeah, I just don't think we need, I don't think we need sync mute buttons. Set up mute buttons. Sync mute buttons. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. Okay. I think it's working. I don't think we need the sync mute buttons function. Because this function update the mute button icons and accessibility labels in each section. So this was just syncing it based on the whether or not it was globally muted or unmuted. But I took that button out, and now we're already doing that. Here. Yep, we're doing that here. Because this flash toast is using whether or not it's globally muted or unmuted to sync it, because it's got the global mute function. So we don't need this function, which was specific to the button that was in the upper right-hand corner. Yeah, okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Excellent. Okay, so now the CSS. So let's take out the mute. Yeah, we don't need this anymore. So I'm just going to uncomment that. So now let's go find some SVGs that we like. What is it, a speaker? Sound. Probably something like this. Volume. Here we go. Let's do these two. Let's do these two. Mute. We'll do this one. Well, we can do, should we do this one and this one so they are kind of the same? Okay, so we'll do this one, which is mute. Let's see here. Projects. And then this is volume high outline. We'll do these two. All right. So here, instead of text content, we're going to do inner HTML. And let me make sure. That I have this right. So instead of toast text content on, we would just do this. Inner HTML. Question mark SVG colon SVG. And then we want mute. And it's sort of minifying it here, but that's okay. And then let's make sure that we don't have, we take out our current color. So we can style those. And I'm sure they're going to be really gigantic. We'll see. Oh, that's not too bad. Look at that. We're going to style that a little more, but that works. Okay, good. Oh, but we have CSS to kind of control our SVGs also. Yes, we do. So let's go back to our styles. So I'm going to change this a little bit because I think in Instagram, this is actually not a black transparent background, it's a white transparent background. And then let's use our variable. I don't know why we need to set a font. So we're going to put this in the middle. So I'm going to do top 50%, left 50%. And then we're going to say transform, translate, negative 50%, negative 50%. I think it's bigger than that, but this is pretty darn close to what I want. I love it. Okay. Well, I don't think we need color because there's no text. Toast audio SVG. Toast audio SVG. We're going to make this a little bigger because I do think on Instagram it's a little bigger. So I'm going to say 3 rems by 3 rems. There we go. Does that seem about right? So Go Elmo Go is saying it is a black transparent background on even on light mode. Interesting. Okay, I didn't remember that. I like the white background more. It makes more sense. It's easier to recognize. Okay, we can go. I remember it differently, but you know what? I learned my lesson. I love it. Oh, my transform isn't working. Oh, that's because of the scale. Can I combine? Do we need a scale? Yeah, I don't think we need a scale. Oh, that's because of the scale right here. Let's ask. Let's start a new chat here and ask. Can I combine transform properties? I want to use, I want to use scale and translate. Oh, you good. Okay, good. So just without a comma. There we go. And we can see, now you can kind of see the, it's animating the transform. If I transition just, let me see here. Can I transition just the scale and not the translate. Yes, you can transition only the scale and leave the translate instant. Oh, nice. Okay. That version animates both translate and scale. If you want only the scale to animate, you can separate it into its own property using CSS transform functions with custom properties, or use the newer individual transform properties. Support note, translate, scale, and rotate as separate properties are all supported in all modern browsers. If you need to support older browsers, you'd have to animate the whole transform. Interesting. Interesting. Let's try that. So scale 0.9 and whoops. Translate. We're all about the innovation here, right? It's working. There we go. I think this is a square. Let's see. There we go. It's not quite a square. We'll make it a square. I'm going to do a width of 4.5 rems and a height of 4.5 rems. Need to make it a little bigger. There we go. Actually, so the padding should probably be 0.25 rems. There we go. Now it's even. So I will make this a little bit smaller. So we just have to make this proportional then. So if I make this, let's go with 2. So if this is 2 rems inside of a 5 rem container, that would make this 2 minus 5, it would make this 1.5. And then we can, let's add the class show. That looks pretty good to me. So let's see if we can implement now our double tap to heart. Recreating the Instagram double tap to like effect for Reels using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript involves detecting a double click on a video element and then triggering a visual heart animation and updating a like counter. So our HTML is a little bit different, but this has a class of heart icon, and then we have a class of likes count. So let's add that to our HTML. And that is technically here. So let's go find it. Where are you? I think you're up here someplace. Where did I hide you? Right here. Okay. There's our title. Here's our author. Here's our comments. Here's our heart. So here's our button. Div class heart icon. And then likes count right here. Meta count, likes count. I'll set that to, I'm just going to leave it blank. Okay. Styling. Okay, we already have our styling. So, although, oh, you know what? This is different, isn't it? Yeah, this is different. It's not the same as this. So I'm going to take this class out, but we do still want to update this. So we'll come back to this later because we're going to change the SVG, the color of this SVG once it's liked from an outline to a solid. But we do need to get a heart icon in here. So I'm going to borrow this right here. Where am I going to put this? I think I can put it anywhere. It's going to be position absolute. Heart icon. Okay, and then we'll use this CSS. And we'll adjust some of that CSS. And we're not using the font. The heart icon. So this would actually be, well, it's got a stroke. So we might want to update that. So for now, it's just going to be a stroke of red. So we could add liked and see if this works in the browser. So here's the SVG. There it is in the middle. There, look at that. Do we see it? Look at this. It's fast. Perfect. So let's actually go find a solid heart. Where are we here? Let's go back to Ionicons and find a solid heart. Heart filled right here. So we will replace this heart right here. And we're going to make sure that this is aria hidden true. This is the heart icon. And I don't see a fill or a stroke on this SVG. There we go. So now we just have to change the stroke to a fill because it's solid. Oops. There we go. We can also change the width and the height. And also, is it red? I might make it red no matter what because I just like a nice red heart. What do we think? Look at how powerful CSS is. Love that. Okay, so there's our heart. Now we just need the double tap. The double tap. Okay, so we should be able to combine some of this, right? So we're doing an event listener with a double click, and we also have a likes counter. So here's our, so we need query selector for our real video, heart icon. I feel like this could all be its own function. Cannot read properties of null reading add event listener. I think this also needs to be so it's inside of our fetch function. Oh, that's because that is not the correct. That is not the correct. Hang on. What is it? That's the button. Create element video. It's just video. Let's do this. Reel. It's just reel. Reel and then video. Okay, there we go. Cannot set properties of null setting text content likes. Likes count. Did I get the correct class name in here? Yeah, I have it right here. Oh, if it's I have a feeling something's out of. Oh, likes count. Did I put in an underscore? Yes, I did, right here. There it is. Now, how many times can I like the video? Clearly, I can like it as many times as I want, but it's working. And then one tap or one click to mute. Look at that. Okay, so we obviously need to limit. It needs to be, we need to remember that we can't just unlimited like we can't just unlimited like it, right? But this is working. Okay. So we need to make sure that we're either liking or unliking. We're not just stacking likes. So, but also let's make sure, I don't think we need to use the word likes. I think we just want to count. Yeah, so I'm going to take this out. So we're just going to do a count. And then I think we just need to do some logic that says if liked, because that's the behavior on Instagram, right? So so if likes is, well, it wouldn't be equal to 1. I have to think about this for a second. Let's style our heart while I'm thinking. So here's our heart icon. This is the floaty heart icon. We want to make sure, and I think we can do this with so there's one. So we want to add a class list also to our button SVG. Right here. So I'm going to give this a class of, let's do heart button. Actually, do I want to put that there? Wouldn't it be easier to just put it here? Heart icon. Heart button. And then we'll do heart icon. Heart button. Oh, stop. Heart underscore button. Heart button, which is the SVG. We just want to change the fill to red. Oh, heart button. No, it's a stroke. Oh, we would actually want to, it's only a stroke. So we need to change it so it's got a fill. Can't we just give something solid a stroke? That makes more sense, right? So let's do our solid heart and just give it a stroke. True. And this is the heart button. So this is a solid, this is a solid filled in so the default would be a fill of transparent and a stroke of red. I don't know if this will work. And then make this liked, give it also a fill of red. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't have a stroke. Can I just put in a stroke attribute? I don't know. Can I do that? I don't think I've ever tried to do that before. let's see here. Let's ask our friend. Can I add a stroke attribute to a solid fill SVG? Or can I just give an SVG a stroke slash outline? Yes, any SVG shape can have both a fill and a stroke at the same time. The stroke will sit around the outside depending on the stroke alignment, but the browser support is there. Wait, but browser support there is still shaky. Okay. It's not showing it, but default stroke is none. You have to explicitly set the stroke and the stroke width. Stroke sits on top of the fill by default. So if you use a thick stroke, half of it will overlap the fill, half will stick outward. Okay. You can control stroke rendering. So let's add the stroke width. We didn't add that. So we've got stroke and stroke width. Stroke, I'm going to leave that empty. And then stroke width is pixels. We'll say 3 pixels. I don't know if that's right. Stroke and stroke width. Invalid property value. Is it just not like the CSS? Oh, it's not var. That's why. That's why it doesn't like it. Hang on, I still got this wrong. Equals. Okay, what's the value? What is the value for stroke width? Is it px? Unitless number, okay. 4 means 4 units in the SVG's coordinate system. If your view box is 0, 0, 100, 100, that's 4 100ths of the width. But you can also use absolute units. Most people just use numbers, no pixels, because it scales more predictably when the SVG is resized. Okay, let's do this. I want a 3 pixel stroke on this SVG. So I'm going to put in fill, but I'm going to put in an empty attribute because I want to control that with CSS. So Yeah, it's because I'm setting the fill to transparent. And the stroke's not working at all. I'm trying to set the fill to transparent and the stroke to red. Fill none. Okay, so instead of transparent, do none. The stroke isn't showing up at all. Oh, wait a second. Yes, it is. I can see the faint, I think. I'm determined. Here's my CSS. Hopefully you can see what I'm trying to do. Right now, I can't see the stroke at all. Oh, okay. We've got two good options. Target the path. Yeah, no red line from what I can see either. I feel like I can see a very faint red line. Fill stroke, stroke width. I'm missing something here. I feel like I'm just missing something obvious. Fill, stroke, and stroke width. So maybe take it out, take this value out of the attribute. It's not showing up for me. You're not seeing it because your SVG is tiny. But the view box is 512 by 512 with stroke with 3 unit lists. That's 3. See, I feel like I could see a very faint red line. Okay. 2 fixes. Keep a crisp 3 pixel stroke at any size. Vector effect non-scaling stroke. Let the stroke scale with the SVG. Crank the unit list width up so it survives the 512 view box. Okay. There we go. That was it. That was it. Okay, so we're almost there. Okay, so by default, we actually want this to be white. Probably we solved the problem. We solved it. I do think it's a little beefy though, so let's bring that down. There we go. That's even a little bit chunky, isn't it? Huh? There we go. That matches, right? That even looks a little. There, perfect. And then we also want to change the stroke to red. Stroke red. So now if we but did we finish our JavaScript? We're so close. We're so close. Liked. So our heart button. Spelled wrong. Wrong case. We did it. Okay, so we also need to have a default value in here, which I took out. Right here. So we need 0 in there by default. Whoops. Okay, so 0 by default. Now if we double tap, I did a single and then a quick double. There we go. See, the thing is I don't want to just count, well, I guess we could just count my like, right? So if likes is is equal to 1, right? Whoops, triple equal. If likes is equal to 1, likes minus minus, and then this, whoops. Well, I would just say if likes is equal to 1, then likes, reset the likes back to 0 and remove this class. Okay, so I think that we have to do a couple of things here, right? We're checking, we need to do if likes equals 0, else, right? We need to do like an else if. So if likes equals 0, then we're going to do these things. Else I don't think we would. Okay, we're close. We're close. Okay. Oh, hang on. I'm not updating this. That's why. I think this needs to, I don't even think that needs to be in there. It can just be down here, right? And it'll just be whatever this ends up being. And let's make this bigger. So I think right now, what is that, 3 rems? So maybe we'll make it 4. Why is it not getting bigger? Oh, because I'm updating the wrong thing. That's why. Hang on. Right here. There we go. I mean, I'm satisfied with this. I like this. And I don't think I'm going to worry about animating that heart any more than it is. But I am going to speed up the timing on, what is it right now, 280? That feels slow to me. What happens if we do 200? Yeah. Maybe 250. I'm going to change this to 300 milliseconds. I love it. I love it. I'm happy with this. I like this. Oh, doesn't work on. Oh, we have to do it. We have to put it in a loop, don't we? Yeah, we have to put it in a loop. We have to for each through our likes. Yeah, so I think we just have to loop through our reels. Query selector all. Maybe we can do this right now. Reel video for each reel. Oh, interesting. So, the mobile, the tap is not working. The double click is not. So how does a click equal a tap, but a double click doesn't equal a double tap? Because it works for mute and unmute. So, okay, so one thing at a time. Let's at least get this working on the individual reels. So this is exactly how this seems to work for me in my experience. I set out to do something, and then along the way these things just happen that I don't know how to deal with, right? So, okay, so we can double tap now on that, and we can double tap. There we go. We can double tap on that. Why do I have to do it twice? Why do I have to do it twice for this to work? Why do I have to do it twice? I double tapped, didn't work. Double tapped, worked. So interesting. The double tap doesn't work the first time. It only works the second time. Why? And it doesn't work at all. Doesn't work at all in mobile. We have some problem solving to do. Okay, we're going to use GitHub Copilot. My like heart function isn't working as expected. On desktop, I have to double click twice to like. On mobile, the taps don't double tap. Double tap doesn't work at all. Okay, let's see here what GitHub Copilot says. The issue is that your like heart function only listens for a double click event, which works on desktop but not on mobile, where double tap is not reliably mapped to double click. Also, your tap to mute logic intercepts double taps but doesn't trigger the like animation. Oh, that's interesting. It could be that I was monkeying with the timing yesterday, so that's a possibility for that. Solution: on desktop, keep double click for liking. On mobile, trigger like on double tap in setup tap to mute where you already detect double taps. I'll update your code so that double tap on mobile and double click on desktop both trigger the like animation and count. Your code is now updated so that on desktop, double clicking a reel triggers the like animation and count. On mobile, double tapping a reel, not a button, also triggers the like animation and count. Likes are tracked per reel, not globally. Yes, you should now see the like animation and count update correctly on both desktop and mobile. Let me know if you need further tweaks. So now we have a function called trigger like. Got it. And then we loop through each reel. So we are setting the likes. If likes equal 0, likes equal 1. Okay. And then where else? All right, and then we have our interactive behavior here. So we do need sync mute buttons. All right, let's see how it goes. Well, first, let's check it here.
Hey, bud. Saturday by the sea.
So the like is working. We just need to make sure that I think we can do that if the like is working. So this is actually a good point, because the other thing that I noticed is, hang on, let me pull up a video. I'm not going to open up Instagram. I learned the hard way not to do that. But what I did do is figure out that take a really close look at Instagram Reels and what the functionality really is when you're tapping. And I took a video. So let's watch this. And I need to make sure that this is on mute because I don't want the music to play. So let's just watch this so you can see what the actual functionality is. So you can double tap to get the heart animation, but it doesn't increase the count. And I understand that the animation is like changing colors. I'm not really worried about that. The other thing I noticed is that heart animates from wherever you tap on the screen. So you can see there that that heart is coming from the places where I'm tapping, which I had never noticed that before. So I'm also choosing to not worry about that either. I'm not going to worry about getting the tap to originate. What I want is just to be able to double tap and always have the animation. And then I think that I tap and untap the heart here too. And then I'm tapping once, tapping twice, or tapping to once to mute and unmute. Did I not undo? There, right there. So I did go ahead and tap there. And then I re-liked it again. So I think that functionality is interesting. I'm glad that I went back to look at that. So let's see what happens on mobile now. So on mobile, this does work the way I expect it to. For now. Okay, so we just need to fix this. I mean, I'm right, that now it doesn't. Handles like animation and okay. The like count is not. So what's really happening? What's not happening on desktop? Here's our overlay, our sidebar, our hearts, our button. So what should be happening is this SVG should be getting so if likes equal 0, oh, we don't have, wait a second, let likes equal or 0. The count is not increasing on desktop. The count is not increasing on desktop. It is not The count is not increasing on desktop. It is also not adding the class, but it works fine on mobile. Okay, so here's what GitHub Copilot is saying. The double-click light feature now listens on the overlay, the visible top layer, so it should work on desktop as expected. The like count and animation will trigger when you double-click anywhere on the Reels overlay. Mobile double tap will continue to work as before. Test on desktop and let me know if the like now works. I wonder if I need to change this timing. Yesterday, what was it? It was, where are you? It was originally 280. I'm wondering if I need to keep it at that. Because it's getting confused between the double and the single taps. That works. That works. Okay, so far so good for desktop. Okay. That was my fault. You know what? I'm going to take it. Let's just take it. Let's take the W. Okay, so now we have trigger like. And so it was looking for the overlay. Attach double click to overlay, which is visually on top. Why is that different for? So if overlay, add the double click event listener, prevent default, trigger the like. Oh, okay, I get it. So it's doing it on the overlay, not on the reel. That was why it wasn't working on desktop. And then mobile must have been listening. So mobile was listening on the reel, but desktop needed to listen on the overlay. Got it. I actually get that. Okay. So here's where I'm at with this. We're done. We're done. We're gonna finish some styles. We're gonna tighten up our styles for mobile, and I have something else that I want to do, animating that heart. But as far as this functionality is concerned, I'm done. This is me saying that done is better than perfect, and that there are more opportunities to build this out, increase the functionality. Count likes, count hearts, make the experience more authentic, right? I am choosing to stop here because I need to move forward and I just have other things that I want to do, other priorities. So that's where I'm at with this. And this is part of being a developer, is saying, I'm done now. I'm not moving forward. We can come back to this. You can put it in the technical debt column. You can make it open source and create an issue and let other people do a pull request or fork it or do whatever they want. This is the choice that I'm making. So there's that. How do I close this? Okay. There's a little animation there with that heart, right? So I'm not going to be able to make it exactly like that. However, we can adjust our keyframe. Watch this. Oh, your mind's gonna be blown. So I'm going to adjust the keyframe, the transform in the last 100% here of the heart pop animation. Stop. Not too shabby, huh? So it's not exactly, I'm not detecting exactly where on the screen the heart pop comes from. It's always going to be in the center in my version of this clone.
The sea, got somewhere we need to be, we just stay here.
But I can do that at least.
Like the feel of something new.
So there we go. Let's keep moving forward with styles. I think number one, we need to work on the padding. So our padding is not on the reel itself. Also, so here's our overlay. Here's our article. I also think that we need to change some of our HTML5. So this is a section. This should probably be a div because there's no header. Do we have a header? I don't think we have a header anywhere in here. We don't have like an H1 or an H2 or anything like that. So we need to change that. Yeah, so we need to change this section to a div, which is completely fine. So let's just do that really quick. I'm not going to change any of the variables though. We're just going to, instead of, we're literally just going to change this instead of section to div. I think that will be fine. There we go. Article aside. Yep. Okay. And then on our overlay, let's adjust our padding. So we have 2 rems. Yeah, I think we could take this down to 1. Also wondering if we can just, so top, bottom, left, right. So top, right, bottom, left. 0. I think we do need some padding. Okay, so 132. And can we tighten up this column? So right now, this might be, oh, does that kind of works. What is keeping? I feel like there's something keeping that column. Maybe it's the, is it this image? It's this image is keeping it from. There we go. That did the trick. So let's change the width of this image to 40 pixels. And I am going to change our grid to 12 FR, 1 FR. So 132 right here. And then, oh, I think it was line 260. Right here. There we go. That's a lot tighter. There is a little more room down here, and I think we need to make this, oops,
Saturday.
sorry, I keep hitting that. Should I just, I'm just gonna mute that so you guys don't have to listen to that. Here's the author. Let's make this a little smaller. That's still that's a little bit bigger, but maybe more like that. Yeah, about 40. Line 170. I'm glad we're lining this up. This is really helping. And then we need to make this a little bit smaller. I feel like we can tighten up this gap as well. So 162, maybe 0.5. And then here's our author, font size, pretty big. Maybe 1.1. Yeah, that looks pretty good. 1.1 rems. Line 185. And we need to tighten up this, and I think the artist. So there's a lot of space in between the name and the artist. So for this real author, we're just gonna change the line height to 1, and you can see it automatically reduce the space there. Because there wasn't any margin or padding, right? It was just a lot of line height. So that instantly solved that. I do think that the artist, the scroll could be a little smaller. The font size could just be a tiny bit smaller, which is this real song p tag. So this also has a lot of line height. So we could take that line height out, although I don't think that had much of an impact, did it? The font size right now is probably 1 rem. Yes? Yes. So we could take this down a little bit, maybe to 0.9. There we go. That is pretty darn close, isn't it? So let's just change the font size to real underscore song. That's line 209. And I think our little musical note could be a tiny bit smaller as well. So maybe instead of 1.25 rems, we could just go 1. Oops, just like that. Look at that. And then for our caption, the caption on Instagram doesn't wrap. It has an ellipsis. So I've done that before. I have to remember how to do that. So for caption, Okay, and we do have dedicated styles, 226 right here. So for the container caption, I think we need to say overflow, overflow. Is it, oh, I thought it was ellipsis. Hang on. CSS overflow ellipsis. Just remind me. So we say white space no wrap, overflow hidden, text overflow ellipsis. And you do have to have a constrained width. What is it now? 318. Let's try 300 pixels. Oops. There we go. This also has margin. Let's get that margin off of there. Oh, we need a little bit of margin. There we go. And then this, I think there's way too much space here. What's going on here? Oh yeah, we need to get the margin off of here. 258. Oh, we need a little bit of margin. So let's try 0.25 rems just on the top and bottom. There we go. Oh, we need a little more. We need a little more. What do we think? I also think that this column, the aside, I zoom in on this. I think this column, the aside, where are you? The things in this column need to be, oh, it says text align center. That's okay. But I need everything align items end. Wait a second. I think I have some margin in here. Do I have margin in here? Yes, we need to get this margin off of here. There we go. Well, it's pretty close. We need these two things to line up on the bottom, so maybe we just need a tiny bit of margin there. There we go. What do we think of that? Yeah. Okay, 263. What do we think? I love it. I love it. Let's see how things look on desktop. Oops. I love it. I love it. I think that you could definitely write some media queries to make this look, to fill this in a little more on desktop. But it's supposed to be a mobile app, right? Maybe. I think that this is the true definition of mobile first. That's what I think. I think we might need to put a little bit of a gap in between. I think I'm going to change this to 10 FR and 1 FR. We might want to have some gap though. Why is it putting gap though on? Yeah, this looks like this might be a good way to go. Putting in some gap and then taking out the padding on the right. I think this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this back to 9. And then we're splitting that rem of padding that used to be there and putting a half of rem on each side for a little separation. That's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to go with for now. You know? I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it. I'm just eyeballing it, you know? I love it. I think it's so cool. I'm just sitting here thinking, well, I've been thinking this for the last week or so. What can I do with this new information that I've learned about video? vertical, or not even, well, vertical video, but also just I learned so much about video and looping and what the browser will automatically play and not play. And as far as I'm concerned, this project is in the books. So let's go ahead and commit our changes. All right. And just a reminder that if you are interested in this project, if you would like to fork it, contribute to it, everything is linked down in the description, including the demo page if you would like to check it out. So I'm not saying that it is perfect, or, well, it's my version of perfect. I think it's pretty perfect. It's not, a full stack app or full stack duplication of Instagram. It was just my version of cloning a reel. That's all, and some front end functionality. So we got as close as we could. So let's actually check and see how this functions on mobile. I always need to refresh this on mobile. I'm not sure why. So I think it looks great, and the snapping is perfect. I'm obviously thrilled with this. Our tap to mute, our tap to unmute. Whoops. It all works. There we go. The tap to mute and the tap to unmute. Yeah, I guess it's okay. Okay, I don't know why that worked. So that is not working. But if I tap on the heart, if I double tap on the heart, it works. So I can double tap anywhere and we get the heart animation, but in order for it to actually increase, I need to double tap on the heart itself. So I'm not sure why that is. And I feel like I didn't have to do that here. Yeah, it's not working there. So again, I have to double tap on the button itself, on the heart itself, to get the likes to increase and to get that like class added to that SVG. So this still isn't working quite right on mobile. So this could use, this still needs some work. Whoops. So I think this still needs some work. So if there's anybody out there who wants to fork this or contribute to this, I have everything linked down in the description. Totally open source. There's still more to do here, but I have to say overall, I love it. I learned so much about HTML video that I didn't understand. In the past, I was under the assumption that video just wouldn't play on a mobile device, and I know now that that's wrong. It doesn't play on a mobile device. It doesn't play in the browser if it doesn't have the muted attribute. That's why it doesn't automatically play and why it only shows the poster. So I get that now. But also, I just loved working on this UI. I loved creating these vertical videos, which, side note, makes me think that I should be doing shorts or more reels, things like that. Or maybe, I don't know, dare I say, be on TikTok. I just had so much fun building this. And I just keep thinking, what can I do with this information? So there are some quirks here on mobile. There are definitely some quirks here on mobile. There's room for improvement. But here's the thing, and I've already said this once. In development, you do have to decide that something is done and that it is better than perfect for the sake of moving forward and getting things deployed. You will always have things in your backlog. You will always have things that you need to go back and improve. That is a normal part of the process. accept that into your life. I'm very happy with what we got done, and that's what I'm doing. I'm moving forward. I'm moving on to the next project. And who knows, I may go back and figure some of these things out at a future date. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this series, please do me a favor and give it a like. It helps the algorithm. Let's push this kind of content out to more people who might enjoy watching these kinds of videos. And if you're not subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it if you would do so. We've had quite the growth spurt here over the last couple of months, and I would really love to grow this channel into more people who enjoy HTML, vanilla CSS, and vanilla JavaScript. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye-bye.